So guys, today and through the whole month we'll be talking about Stalin apartments. They are located in the city center. They were developed after the war so that the city would look nice and presentable, and that was under the clearance by Stalin himself, or at least it happened during his lifetime. That's why the flats are called Soviet classicism or Stalin era apartments. They have certain peculiarities we'll be discussing down the line. And this area between Victory Square and the railway station can be split into sub-area or sub-districts which have their own shortcomings and drawbacks. All these sub-areas or sub-districts, it's really hard to single them out into separate districts, have their pluses and shortcomings. We'll be discussing each in a separate chapter. As much as we shop around with my clients, could stretch into March and April and May. Trend is picking up, by the way. Stalin apartments are limited in supply, and this may affect the price. It's not bound to go down immediately, but shopping or basically hunting for a good deal over here has its potential, and by the time this video is released, my two clients will have purchased their flats. The area of our primary interest right now is National Arts Gallery and the railway station. One may assume they're quite too central, too noisy or something, but the stadiums and parks are nearby. All the restaurants and cafes are a walk away, so they make almost 99% guaranteed rentals with $600 to $800 a month guaranteed revenue. Again, 99%. And we'll see how it's going to work out. Maybe make a separate video on that. Today I'm looking at several options, and you'll be seeing them on the screen soon. Trying to find a balance between per square meter price, between what's inside the flat and what's outside. Thank you for staying with the channel. Let's have a look at those flats. Of course, as one may expect, the major problem lying here about these houses is traffic and parking, tightly related to this problem, because these houses were never designed for so many cars to be around, and the space and the area itself is not designed to accommodate a lot of cars. But more and more frequently, bars like the one in the arch behind me appear in the central courtyards and more or less ensure access to dedicated tenants and landlords of the area, so it shouldn't be a major problem, not like a critical problem, unlike in the newly built neighborhoods. The courtyard here seems to have a couple of vacancies right now at daytime. That's Thursday today, and generally it's something to keep in mind, but it's not trouble number one. Let's go inside the place and see what kind of apartment this is and what kind of wrinkles it may have. Most of these houses do not have lifts. That's a more critical thing on top of the parking. As I'm approaching the door, there's a shop truck being unloaded just by the courtyard. This is something that may not be a good thing from the noise and, let's say, dust point of view. And here's one of those coded boxes with the keys that the Airbnb guys leave for their tenants. Seems the house underwent capital improvement, so the staircase doesn't look as ugly as in several other options that we saw previously. There are light sensors, motion sensors and noise sensors that switch the lights on normally after these things. Heaters, plaster, paint, many things have been redone. One of the top merits of the capital improved building is that piping behind your toilet that the state is responsible for in case of a leak or some kind of accident has been replaced, so nobody's going to mess up your expensive Italian carpets and tiles after you finish with the renovation. And generally it makes a much more favorable impression than those unrenovated staircases that we have examined so far. I was kind of upset this whole staircase has been redone, but life is full of bonuses. I'm approaching the unrenovated section so that you could compare for your own what sort of site it was before the upgrade. And finally, 5th floor. We're near the house, the flat that we're shopping for. The view has been finished. The owner is an admirable guy, but he started his renovation in a not very admirable time, so I couldn't shoot the kitchen completely. Kitchen is merged with one of the living rooms. So this, with the price declared as 145,000, obviously haggling, leaves some room for our negotiations in future when the client comes back from his warm escape and actually can see it for himself and view it for himself and make a conclusion. Let's see the other place in Kalmak Street. Minsk is quite proud of being safety in terms of street safety, street crime, gun crime that we'll be talking about a bit later. So this location next to the KGB and the police ministry is bound to be safe as houses. Of course, it's not our main concern here. It's just central, nice, post-war, so you can call it classic but not ancient. And the apartment basically is right in the block that overlooks the Secret Service. Thing is that the block where the flat you're going to see now is also has another offer, a renovated offer, sitting on the 2nd floor. And this may be one of our potential offers to balance with. The most important point is to see them all, to touch base with whoever represents the seller, and most of them are through the agencies, and make an offer, basically. Basically, these sub-areas or sub-districts are quite relative. They are squares and streets here in the city center developed after the war with all the high ceilings and decor to the houses and no lifts. The Victory Square, they are Circus, Kalmak Street, Lenin Street, October Square. This would be all close by, but still you would use one or the other name for specific geographic navigation to pinpoint the property where you're looking, which you're looking at. Over here, Dynamo Stadium in Kirov Street, Railway Station Square and Minsk Hotel area. These are more or less the landmarks I can recall offhand, which have all the properties accumulated near them and selling at pretty high prices. We're looking at another property right now. It's a pretty spacious 4th floor out of 5 apartment, which has been selling for a while. Price is not really realistic, but until you're there, you can see how insane the expectation of the seller is and how much you can push it to become a real deal. Stay with the channel. Walking down Karl Marx Street, I must point out that we're looking at the corner building you've just seen on the screen, but sometimes the offers may be as exotic as this charmer, early 1900s. They knew how to build back then, and still this falls into Stalin era type, although it's mostly about the height of the ceilings, not about the time of construction or conditions of the communications in there, something like this. That also belongs to the concept, and it also costs a lot of money. Generally, the pricing in this area is about $2,200 per square meter for unrenovated options, or close to that. And I know a couple of them that's been selling for a couple of years by now. And renovated ones may come at $2,500 or even $3,000 a square meter. Obviously, if you check Airbnb and such like, you'll find that almost all the rented apartments in Minsk, which is 3 times as big as Paris, are in the city center or are a short ride away, a short walk away from the center. Speaking of the center, National Art Gallery over here is one of the landmarks that makes the property real central. All the boozes are here, bars, restaurants and everything, whatever is still open, and many things are, by the way. And on top of having some traffic here, you still don't have the bikers, although you may have noticed that the background noise of the traffic has increased over here as I'm recording the sound. If you get a bit closer to the president's administration here, the level of security goes up, and some official occasions may result in the traffic blockage and stuff like that. Right now, there aren't many official events, and this is merely 5, say 8 times a year, not more than that. So all these things, all these dates are known to the locals, and they just move until the afternoon, until the holiday is done, the celebrations are done, and that's it. As you know, guys, we are still searching for the deal of the year. Stalin apartments. Stalin era apartments are between Kirov, Lenin Street, Karl Marx Street, Victory Square to Independence Square. They all have their merits and drawbacks. And today we're going to have a quick look at the option, one of the 2 selling 2 bedrooms near the train station, near a walkaway near Independence Avenue, Independence Square and Independence Avenue. The attractive part of this proposal is that the 2 flats selling are basically one on top of the other. They are over 130,000, and let's have a look at how they look. Although economy is not improving really, and we are standing by to see where the market is going this year. It's early January now, the sanctions are on the way, and the holidays will be soon over. Basically, today's the last day when things are slow. Through January and most likely through February, we'll see where inflation is and what's the ruble exchange rate. Now it's dropping, by the way. Dollar is up and euro is up. And we will also see where the deals with flats are going, because apart from the locals, which are sometimes getting skinny, there are also foreign buyers, which you shouldn't discount. So there are people competing with you. And when they say that we were offered by some Belgians or French 5,000 more, this is not necessarily a bluff. So let's see what this place has to offer. The train station area where we're shopping now is obviously notable for the proximity of train station, which is not just a departure point for trains, which are now slow over COVID. It's also the shuttles to the airport and all sorts of cafes, restaurants and places. And since the traffic of people is not so high right now, it's hard to estimate if it's going to be too busy when COVID is done and tourists are back. But let's say this may be an arguable point. On top of other things, I wouldn't say shops are closed, because shops are scattered across the city and mostly you get your stuff delivered online. It's actually on the edge of the tourist area, and it's very much off the place where you may see crowds of people touring or crowds of people partying or something like that. The capital improvement of this building is over, so that's a major plus. That means that plumbing from the roof to the cellar will not be redone, and your bathroom unit's gonna be messed up. Windows have been replaced, and facade has been redone with a new layer of plaster, so all sorts of leaks, cracks have been fixed, hopefully in the long-term run. And let's check out the interior. Next door place is still undergoing the capital improvement, so the havoc is still in the courtyard.